1 year ago today, I was sitting in a building that I used to own in a conference room. I used to attend every Friday, every Monday, every Wednesday for different meetings. Looking out the window at my parking lot, which was now empty, with an entire staff of terrified employees who I consider family, thinking to myself, what should we do? I'm in the sports business. My business revolved around Super Bowl, Pro Bowl, Masters, Kentucky Derby, Breeders' Cup, the ESPYs, Emmys, Oscars, Grammy, over 1,000 different golf tournaments, all tied to charity for a purpose or a cause. On March 11th, I was thinking to myself, wow, what a great opportunity. Huge problems, incredible needs. If I could only get everybody to focus in on the skills that we had, the capabilities that we had, and the desire to be what we must be, the desire to consistently, every day, enjoy persistently without quit the pursuit of our potential. Could I convince these young employees / family members of mine that this was a huge opportunity, that there was no difference in the uncertainty of the time? In fact, I always tell people, if you can find anyone on earth that can tell me exactly what's going to happen tomorrow, please have them call me, because I know how to make billions of dollars. I'll gladly give it all away to you or to anyone else that you find. But there is always uncertainty. But what had changed? We were about to enter a world of accelerated change. All the things that we were looking to do, we now had in an accelerated term of time. And the only thing that we needed to do as a group was to know what we had control of. And so I immediately set forth trying to convince everyone, not only motivate them, but inspire them that they had control of their mindset, that they had control of their heart set, the way they felt, and that we would implement and execute on the capabilities that we had, the skills, the knowledge of what and who, and this desire in the most efficient, effective, and statistically successful way that was supplementary or synergistic to what was going to be doing well, what was going to be stable, and what we thought would be doing well in the future. And so while other people sat paralyzed with fear and worrying being the ability to wish for what we don't want, so many people focusing in on what was missing, what they didn't want, what they were afraid of, or even worse, what other people wanted for them. We were going to focus in on how our skills, our knowledge, and our desire aligned with the opportunities that exist when there's great change, when there's huge problems and a tremendous need. And so we leaned in to our mission. How could we make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun? How could we carry out a mission that would never be more needed, of empowering over 1 billion people to be happy? As the one virus grew and grew and grew and took lives in our economy, we were going to spread a different virus, a virus that would strengthen everyone emotionally, physically, financially, spiritually. We were going to spread happiness. The only disease that can be spread simply by witnessing it. The only disease that actually strengthens your immune system and protects you against everything else. So from that day on, we took the mindset, the heart set, and the conscious continuum to utilize the 4 values of gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and inspiration, and starting to implement 5 daily practices. I told the team immediately that these 5 daily practices would be the priority for everyone under the umbrella of what we've been teaching for over 10 years. Gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and inspiration. Gratitude gives us perspective. It allows us to find the light, the love, and the lessons in everything. Forgiveness would give us peace and the only form of certainty in the pursuit of being able to forgive the unforgivable. And accountability would give us control of that mindset, heart set, and the conscious continuum by asking ourselves continually two questions. What did I do to attract this to myself? And what am I supposed to learn from? And if we implemented it with gratitude, forgiveness, and accountability, the 5 daily practices, we not only would be motivated every day to get up, get back up, get started, and get back started, but we would live inspired. Inspired not only within the context of each other being inspired, but most importantly, realizing that we are always connected, regardless of what's happening outside of us, to the greatest source of light, love, and lessons that ever exist, and that we would allow this unbelievable source of power, light, love, and lessons to come through us for others. We would not be victims during this time and live in a world of not enough where everything happens to us, and we would live in the world of why me. We certainly wouldn't live in the world of just enough, in a selfish, scarce world where everything was for me to just collect all the toilet paper we could so nobody else would have it. It was just for me. No, we were going to not only live in abundance and live in a world of more than enough, but we were going to empower others to do the same. And so we decided to live by these 5 daily practices, and we decided we would know our what. Personally, experientially, giving and receiving every single day, we would ask ourselves, what do we want? What do we want to do? What do we want to say? What do we want to think? What do we want to believe according to our collective values? And we weren't going to be afraid of making mistakes. We weren't going to be afraid of changing. We weren't going to be afraid of humility, of knowing what we don't know. And then when we knew our what each day, we were going to know our who. We were going to implement the ask and attract strategy of knowing who was sitting in a position that could help us, that who had the capabilities, skills, knowledge, and desire that we needed, and who could we provide service or value to according to the supplementary or synergistic capabilities that we have, and who can give us directions to where we want to go. And when we found the who, we were then going to implement the 3rd daily practice of knowing our how. So understanding the great importance of being a student of our calendar, defining student as the mathematical equation of luck, defining being a student as what we were going to pay attention to, plus what we give intention to be the coincidences in our lives. We were going to take 3 lenses like a kaleidoscope, a Dave Meltzer kaleidoscope that allowed us to have a lens of productivity, of how much value we're going to provide, a lens of accessibility, of how we're going to access what we want and be accessible to others, and of course the lens of gratitude. Despite all the accelerated change, despite all the things that seemed to be missing that we didn't want or what other people wanted for us, we would have a lens of gratitude. A lens that would allow us to find the light, the love, and the lessons and the value in everything we do. In order to implement that, I created calendar captains. So within the context, I took 7 executives from my company and put them in charge of one day. I wanted them to study those Mondays, 4 Mondays in a row for an entire month. I wanted them to study it with those lenses to see how efficient, effective, and statistically successful we could be according to our values that we set forth earlier in the day. I wanted them every day to look 4 Mondays down, 4 Tuesdays down, 4 Wednesdays down. And I wanted to figure out how best we could have that alignment, the synergistic and supplementary value and capabilities of the skills, knowledge, and desire of what we wanted to do. And if we could do that, we would maximize the activity we had planned, maximize the activity we didn't have planned, and have a complete strategy of recovery to plateau and grow by studying actually our sleep. I transformed the paradigm of time, and my daily calendar and my team's daily calendar started the night before. In other words, our tomorrow started today at 9 p.m. So I had my team captains, my calendar captains, looking at how would we unwind every night to put ourselves in a better recovery position, a better state of mind, subconsciously and unconsciously, to clear the interference of all the fear that existed outside of us so that we could be what we wanted to be and really utilize that desire to live to our potential, to enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of that. Which led me to the most important thing that we could do was to be present. So the fourth daily practice was to allow everyone to be able to communicate in a new way. As everyone went to their remote locations, I reminded them that 100% of the things that we do now get done, and that we would not let effective communication or interference get in our way. And so that we would simply ask ourselves, can we do it now? And if we could, we would do it. And if we couldn't, we would have a system, a calendar that would communicate, coordinate, and collaborate everybody together to the same efficient, effective, and statistically successful activities with the lens of productivity, accessibility, and gratitude to allow things to happen rapidly and accurately. We all prioritize the same because we had the same 4 previous daily practices of knowing our what, knowing our who, knowing our how, and knowing our wow. And then finally, most importantly, to achieve the success that historically has been achieved throughout times of crisis. I'm a student of history. The reason I study history is because human nature never changes. There was margins of millionaires to be made. There was significant opportunity to be had. Historically, every time we had a major crisis since the previous plague over 100 years ago, there's been huge opportunities and more millionaires were made. And I wanted to make sure that everyone had the correct values, mindset, heart set, and execution to do so, utilizing gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and inspiration with these daily practices of knowing your what, knowing your who, knowing your how, and knowing your now. But none of it works if you live in the realm of fear. What historically has gotten in the way of the third of the people that are destroyed as victims, or a third of the people that make no progress? What is the difference between those and the third that excel, grow, and expand, even during times of crisis? The fifth daily practice, the practice of ending fear. We get in our own way. Understanding 4 steps I was going to teach and implement and execute with my entire team to make sure that we all were identifying what we were afraid of. There's 2 things that most people are afraid of. There's primal fears, which is feeding, flight, fight, or the other F word that means procreate. And there's secondary fears, which are less obvious. The need to be right, the need to be offended, the need to be separate, inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, angry, guilty, resentful. All of these needs of the ego have cost us so much time, emotion, resources, money, and relationships, especially during crisis, when things get compressed, when a lemon gets squeezed. What comes out of the lemon? That's right, lemon juice. Why? Because that's what's inside the lemon. I was going to make sure that we were squeezing the best out of all of us and squeezing the best out of all of those who we wanted to empower others. We were going to find that lemon juice, and we were going to allow the best to come out of all of us by practicing ending fear, by identifying what we were afraid of, instead of resisting it, fighting it, going over it, under it, through it, manipulating, lying it to it, cheating it, selling it. No. We simply were going to stop, and we're going to drop down to center, to our peace, to our neutrality, to our higher self, in order to effectuate the flow, to allow ourselves to maximize neutrality, to roll in the right direction. Remember, throughout history during crisis, when we have ego-based consciousness, all of those needs, fears, etc., anxieties that exist today, you are on fire. Your mind, your body, your soul, financially, you're on fire. What do you do when you're on fire? You stop, you drop, and you roll. And through these 4 values and 5 daily practices, over 12 months, we've been able to exponentially grow, expand, and accelerate our brand and our revenue to new heights, to new records. And most importantly, we have built a community of empowerment and happiness, a road to revenue and success that had never been seen before in over 25 years in this business. And what do I see in the future? I see a foundation. I see a foundation that has built and will continue to allow us to expand, to grow, and accelerate. That the content that we provide, by capturing it in the appropriate manner, modifying it to all platforms, even ones that didn't exist before the pandemic, amplifying it at its maximum pace and speed, and perpetuating it for the legacy that it has created. I will tell you that I am extremely confident that our company and those associated with it will make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. We will spread the virus of happiness like it's never been spread before. I'm asking you on this special podcast, please be one of my 1,000 to empower 1,000, to empower 1,000 to be happy. 1,000 times 1,000 is a million times 1,000 is a billion. We can create a collective consciousness of happiness to live in a world of more than enough of everything for everyone, a world of abundance with very little fear. Thank you so much. Be kind to your future self and do good deeds.